So, um, India has steadily climbed the global ranks to become the world's fourth largest economy, which, on paper, that is this massive historic achievement.
It's huge.
Right. But there's this really glaring contradiction that just kind of stares many of us in the face every single time we log into our banking apps.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Right. Because if the broader economy is doing so incredibly well, why do you, as a hardworking member of the middle class, still feel like you are barely treading water?
Yeah, it's the ultimate economic paradox. You have these macroeconomic indicators pointing to immense wealth generation, right? And yet the microeconomic reality for the average person is just one of constant underlying financial anxiety.
Exactly. So we really need to ask the uncomfortable question for today's deep dive. Why is there such a persistent, massive gap between a soaring national GDP and the actual balance sitting in your savings account?
It's a question a lot of people are afraid to ask.
Completely. And that's our mission today. We are exploring an incredibly fascinating and honestly, uh, perhaps slightly confronting reality that we've uncovered in our research.
Confronting is definitely the right word for it.
Yeah, because the idea we're looking at today is that our society, our families, our traditional education systems, they have meticulously conditioned us into what we can call a middle-class mindset. And the source material goes as far as to describe this mindset as a carefully designed system that functions almost like modern-day slavery.
Which is, I mean, modern day slavery is a very heavy phrase, certainly.
Very heavy.
But when we start breaking down the mechanics of how this mindset actually operates, the comparison becomes really hard to ignore. What is truly fascinating here is how early this conditioning takes root.
Oh, from childhood, right?
Exactly. From a very young age, we are subtly taught to view significant wealth as inherently unethical. If someone acquires a large amount of money, the default assumption in our culture is often that they must have exploited someone or, cut corners to get it.
Right, there's always a catch.
Exactly. We've made money such a taboo topic that we have somehow managed to turn financial struggle, helplessness, and even poverty into a bizarre badge of honor.
It's as if we've convinced ourselves that suffering makes us morally superior.
Yes.
And by doing that, we actively, though subconsciously, we push wealth away. Now, the research breaks this self-sabotage down into 5 specific traps. These are 5 toxic mindsets keeping roughly 90% of the population entirely stagnant.
But there is a way out.
Right. The promise here is that if you can understand these traps and recognize them in your own life, you can break free. You can join that rare 1% who actually escape the cycle. So let's just jump right into the first one. Trap number 1, the Bagman syndrome.
Communication trap.
Right, named after the iconic movie Bagman, which has long been held up as the absolute gold standard for family values and parental reverence.
It has. But when we look at it through a financial lens, the absolute reverence can actually become quite toxic.
Oh.
Well, it plants this very specific worm in the brain, the idea that parents are infallible gods. And if you, as a child, ever try to question them or even initiate a practical discussion about family finances, you are immediately cast as this ungrateful, terrible person.
Right, you're the villain.
Exactly. And look, it is a beautiful sentiment in theory. Respecting your elders is wonderful, but financially, it can be absolutely disastrous.
Because it shuts down communication.
Totally. If we connect this to the bigger picture, we really have to gently push back on this cultural norm. Parents are human beings, they have wonderful intentions, and they make deep sacrifices, but they are not omniscient.
Right.
They make mistakes.
Yeah.
And those good intentions can still lead to catastrophic financial errors. In so many Indian households, if a son or daughter tries to ask about property deeds or where investments are parked, the conversation shuts down immediately. It's viewed with deep suspicion.
It's like it essentially becomes this Mexican standoff of politeness. The kids are terrified of looking like they only care about their inheritance.
It's this, that they're just waiting for the payout.
Exactly. And the parents feel insulted that their authority is being questioned. But that total financial silence has a literal price tag, doesn't it? What actually happens to all that money when the inevitable occurs and the family just doesn't know where anything is?
It simply vanishes into the bureaucratic ether.
Wow.
And the numbers on this are staggering. Let me give you the breakdown from the research. We are looking at 78,000 crore rupees currently sitting in unclaimed bank deposits.
78,000 crore. Just in banks.
just in banks. Add to that 14,000 crore rupees held by insurance companies in unclaimed policies. Mutual funds are sitting on another 3,000 crore, and there are 9,000 crore rupees in unclaimed corporate dividends.
Okay, wait, let's just pause on that.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, because if you add all that up, that is over 1 lakh crore rupees of completely untouched abandoned wealth.
Abandoned wealth, exactly. To put that into a broader aha context, India's entire national defense budget is roughly 6 lakh crores.
That's insane.
Right. Which means an amount equal to 1/6 of the entire national defense budget is just sitting in dormant accounts, totally unclaimed.
And all because of this silence.
Yes, because a parent ground themselves down working their entire life to save and invest, but the culture of prestige and discipline was so rigid, they never actually told their family how to access the money.
It is genuinely heartbreaking when you frame it like that. Imagine the tragedy of a family living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to pay their daily bills while their grandfather's old share certificates, which could be worth lakhs or even crores today, are just sitting in a dusty cupboard somewhere, completely forgotten.
And this is compounded by the fact that currently less than 10% of Indians make a will.
Less than 10%.
It's viewed as a dark, taboo topic. We avoid the conversation because nobody wants to think about mortality. But the lack of a will, or even just failing to update a basic nominee on a bank account, it routinely destroys families. They get locked into decades of legal battles over assets they legally own but simply cannot access.
So how do you fix this without causing a massive family feud?
The solution we found in the material is actually brilliantly simple. Break the silence.
Just talk about it.
Yes. You don't need a team of expensive estate lawyers to get started. Just use a shared diary or a basic Excel sheet. Document what you have, where it is, and share the password with someone you trust.
Because refusing to talk about money doesn't protect your family from the harsh realities of the world.
Not at all.
It just leaves the next generation just as stuck as you were, which I think leads us perfectly into the psychology of the second trap. Trap number 2, the Sabchangasaya delusion.
The illusion of security, the everything is fine mindset.
This one is terrifying because it's rooted in pure, absolute denial. We've seen that the scary reality for a huge portion of the middle class is that they're exactly one medical emergency away from total poverty and massive debt. But we just refuse to look at it.
We operate under the assumption that tragedy only happens to other people. But the moment you step foot inside a private hospital, you realize how quickly that illusion shatters.
The numbers and the sources on this are wild.
They are incredibly sobering. The data shows average costs right now that can wipe out a family. A 30 lakh rupee bill for an extended hospital stay, a 4 lakh rupee bypass surgery, or a 9.5 lakh rupee bill following a severe road accident. These aren't outliers. These are standard figures today.
Which really highlights the dark humor and irony of how we assess risk in our daily lives.
Oh, absolutely.
We take immense physical risks all the time. Just look at the roads. People drive like they are auditioning for an action movie, ignoring signals, driving on the wrong side of the road.
Right, no helmets, speeding.
Yeah. But then you ask those same people about health insurance or term insurance, and they completely dismiss it as a quote-unquote waste of money.
It comes down to a fundamental misunderstanding of what insurance actually is. When you are healthy and everything is fine, it is very easy to look at an annual premium as a lost expense, just money down the drain.
Because you aren't getting a return on it.
Exactly. But insurance is not an investment meant to generate a return. It is a protective shield. The true value of insurance is peace of mind.
Right.
It's knowing that while someone you love is in the operating room, you aren't sitting out in the waiting room doing frantic mental math, wondering which relative or loan shark you need to call to pay for the anesthesia.
And the excuses people historically use to avoid getting insurance just aren't valid anymore. Things have modernized so much.
They really have.
The research points out that we're seeing guarantees of 30-minute claim support now. Dedicated managers who handle all the hospital paperwork for you. Plus, the recent removals of GST on certain premiums make them much more affordable. There really are no more excuses.
And it also extends beyond just health insurance to life insurance, specifically for the primary breadwinner. If someone is carrying a home loan and paying for their child's education and suddenly they are gone, the entire financial architecture of that family collapses overnight. The critical advice from the deep dive here is to secure pure term insurance.
Let's clarify that for the listener. Pure term insurance, as opposed to what?
As opposed to investment-linked insurance plans.
Right.
This is a crucial trap within a trap. Many people are sold these policies that promise to act as both life insurance and a mutual fund.
Sounds great in theory.
But in reality, they are high-cost, low-return traps. They charge massive premiums but offer incredibly low life coverage. Pure term insurance, where you just pay for the risk cover, is the only mathematically sound way to genuinely secure your family's future and ensure your home loans are paid off if the worst happens.
That makes perfect sense. Keep insurance and investments separate.
Always.
All right, let's move into trap number 3, and this is one you see every single time you open your phone. Pranjai Parshan Nanjai.
Let your life go, but never let your status go.
Exactly. It's the uniquely Indian disease of showing off, but it's been made totally terminal by social media. It's the obsession with keeping your social status intact, even if it completely ruins your life.
The overwhelming pressure to project an image of success that far outpaces your actual bank account. And social media has essentially put this behavior on steroids.
Oh, absolutely. And there's a perfect, almost absurd example of this right now from the text, the Stanley Cup craze.
This is fascinating.
In the United States, this is a standard $35 insulated water bottle. But here, people are importing them and paying anywhere from 8,900 to 25,000 rupees for the exact same cup.
Just for a water bottle.
Just for a water bottle. Why? Simply because they saw an influencer or a celebrity holding one. Meanwhile, a standard heavy-duty 500 rupee steel bottle does the exact same job. It keeps your water cold for 24 hours.
But of course, you can't flaunt a 500 rupee unbranded steel bottle on the algorithm.
Nobody's double-tapping that.
Exactly.
Right.
But what makes this particular trend even darker is the vital, shocking reality behind the product. Those very same expensive cups recently faced massive lawsuits in the United States.
Really? For what?
For containing lead in their vacuum insulation. They were literally causing burn injuries and risking lead exposure.
That is just incredible. People are willingly paying up to 25,000 rupees for a lead-lined cup just so they can look wealthy in a gym selfie.
And the brilliant so what insight here is realizing your place in the economic food chain. To you, buying that lifestyle brand is a major expense that drains your savings.
Right.
But to those global companies, your desperate need to be seen is their entire business model. They get incredibly wealthy off your insecurities while you stay permanently stuck in the middle class.
Faking it till you make it.
Faking it till you're broke.
Yeah. And we see this exact same pattern everywhere. People dropping huge money on designer belts, buying expensive dolls, or getting the newest iPhone on a high-interest EMI when a perfectly good Android would do the exact same job.
Or perhaps the most damaging one, taking out massive personal loans to throw lavish destination wedding.
Oh, the weddings.
You lock yourself into a decade of working overtime just to pay off the interest purely because you were terrified of what the neighbors would think. We have adopted a definition of success that highly prioritizes visible debt over quiet stability.
Visible debt. That's exactly what it is.
True wealth is what money actually can't buy. It is a loving, stress-free home. It is a healthy body. It is restful sleep because you don't have creditors calling you in the morning. Ask yourself, are you making these financial decisions for yourself, or are you just performing for the algorithm?
Performing for the algorithm. That is a tough pill to swallow. Which brings us to trap number 4. The refusal to restart, or the arrogance of ignorance.
This is the strange mindset that your education permanently ended at age 21.
Right. There is this bizarre arrogance in the middle class where people act like words such as asset, liability, and tax are a personal insult.
They get very defensive. They act as if these concepts are too complicated, or even worse, beneath them to learn.
But this refusal to learn has severe real-world consequences, doesn't it?
Absolutely. This deeply ingrained ignorance is exactly why intelligent, otherwise capable people fall victim to incredibly obvious scams. It connects directly to real-world dangers.
Like what?
It is why someone believes a message promising to double your money in 21 days. It's why they panic and empty their bank accounts when they get a fake digital arrest phone call from someone pretending to be the police. Or why they buy useless fake insurance policies from telemarketers. They fundamentally lack basic knowledge of how banking and the law operate.
Now, to be fair, the traditional education system is partly to blame for this. We spent years in school memorizing historical dates and formulas instead of learning how income tax works.
True, the system failed us there.
But here's the critical shift in perspective. Life is an open book exam. We have the internet. We have the entirety of human knowledge in our pockets. So today, ignorance is a choice. It is no longer an excuse.
I strongly agree. You have to urge yourself to embrace curiosity over ego. If you live your whole life with the financial knowledge of a 21-year-old, you will stagnate while the rest of the world upgrades, and you will be the only one who loses.
Which brings us to the fifth and final trap. And this might be the most dangerous one of all. The poverty mindset, or the sour grapes trap.
Treating poverty as a virtue.
Exactly. We lie to ourselves and say things like, oh, I don't even want money. And we begin to view any form of success with deep, bitter suspicion.
Because it's easier to dismiss success than to achieve it.
Completely. The sources list these common middle-class assumptions that we all know too well. If someone gets a promotion at work, the immediate whisper is that they must have bad character.
Right.
If a business starts thriving, people assume they must be evading taxes. If a family saves up and sends their child abroad, the neighbors immediately whisper that it's funded by black money.
It is the absolute embodiment of the classic fable of the fox and the sour grapes. It beautifully breaks down human psychology.
Remind the listener how that fable goes.
Well, the fox spots a bunch of delicious grapes hanging high on a branch. He jumps and jumps, but he can't quite reach them. Eventually, exhausted, he walks away, telling himself, well, those grapes were probably sour anyway. When a goal is beyond you, you essentially have three choices. Choice number one, you upgrade yourself and figure out a way to reach it. Choice number two, you honestly and humbly accept that it's beyond you right now.
And choice number three.
Choice number three is you claim the goal was bad to begin with. You say the grapes are sour. And the middle class almost always chooses the third.
We convince ourselves that wealth is inherently evil, so we don't feel bad about not having it.
Yes. We hate those who succeed to feel better about standing still. But there is a powerful warning here for the listener. If you insult the idea of wealth, wealth will never come to you. You cannot attract what you constantly despise.
Wow. You cannot attract what you despise. That really perfectly summarizes the core message of this entire deep dive.
It ties it all together.
India has the resources and the opportunities. But complaining has become the favorite national sport, not cricket or football, just complaining.
It has.
And while it is an absolute truth that we cannot control the circumstances of our birth, we are entirely responsible for our future.
Which is why the listener needs to take action. Don't just listen to this and nod along. Have the hard conversations with your parents today.
Break the silence.
Organize your investments. Buy pure term insurance. Stop the mindless algorithmic spending on things you don't need to impress people you don't like. Upgrade your financial knowledge.
And look, if you are listening to this right now and you are actively thinking about these things, you are already ahead of the 99% of people who refuse to change. You have the opportunity to be the first in your family to change your trajectory forever.
You really do. But before we wrap up, I want to leave the listener with a final lingering thought. Something that builds on the very core premise of what we've explored today.
I love a good provocative final thought. Let's hear it.
We talked today about how this middle-class mindset functions as a carefully designed system, almost like modern-day slavery. It makes you wonder, if your financial stagnation is indeed a system and not a personal failure, who exactly at the top of the economic ladder benefits the most from keeping you trapped in it?
Oh, wow.
Is your hesitation to break the rules exactly what someone else is banking on?
That is a question that will absolutely keep you awake at night.
It should.
Well, there you have it. A deep dive into the invisible traps keeping you broke. Think about that final question, and we'll catch you next time.